Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of Blue Star Roundup. I am Rob Bell, this is Levi Batchelor, and we are the Middle Tennessee Dallas Cowboys fan club.
That's right.
And, Levi, I don't know about you, but man, I am so stoked for the way this team is playing. We just
6 in a row.
6 in a row.
6 in a row.
And we just rolled the Eagles.
Yep.
Okay, so rolling them might be a little. We beat them, but
resiliency though. Resiliency.
For me, I thought there's a lot that we could point out and pick at and say, this guy didn't do particularly well, and this guy didn't do this or do that. But in my opinion, and I just want to talk about Dak Prescott right off the bat here. Statistically, wasn't great. He was 1939, 287 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. My opinion, though, I think it was his best game yet, and I'll tell you why. Every time Dak has played a game, we've always said, and I think everybody in the back of their minds has said, okay, he did this, but what happens if this happens? What's he going to do if this happens? Or what's he going to do if he gets down late in a game?
Yep.
And so we saw him get down 14-0 to San Francisco. He brought him back. We saw him do some late minute drives and a half to get a touchdown or to get a score. We've seen him come back from making a bad decision on an interception and still win a game. And this time, we saw him. We saw what a quarterback has to do, and he has to have a short memory. He has to be able to take a look at what the failures were and what he's been going through, and say, it doesn't matter. I'm going back out there again, and I'm going to do better, and I'm going to win this game. And he actually did exactly what you want to see a franchise quarterback do. You're not always going to have great games. You're not going to statistically always be better than the next guy, though I thought he was a little bit. But with all of that being said, I thought Prescott grew up a lot.
Absolutely, he did.
And I've said this before. Depending on how the season goes, I think there's a point in time where if a rookie quarterback is starting and he's starting this many games in a row and having this kind of success, the rookie label probably should go away at some point. I mean, because he just looks like a veteran out there.
I mean, he makes good decisions. Absolutely.
And we're starting to see him open up the playbook, opening up a little bit more and a little bit more. Saw that big 9 route to Dez.
Yep.
So I'm just really excited, and that was, for me, that was a big shining moment for me when I realized what he'd done at the end of that game.
Well, and I think you're totally right. I think that absolutely witnessed him grow up right before our eyes again. And just like you said, the question had always been, well, what if he's down late? How's he gonna come back? And he's not pushing the ball down the field. He doesn't quite have the same kind of rapport or the same kind of timing, maybe, with Dez that he's developed with Cole and Bryce and T-Will. And, I mean, that's to be expected. I mean, considering he hadn't played in, almost a month at this point, or a month at this point. I think a lot of his early struggles came down to play calling. And, as much as I've raved about Scott Linehan over the last couple of weeks, I think that we saw Dak take a step back, not necessarily regress, but I think Dak, for the first 2.5, 3 quarters of this football game, looked more like a rookie than he has all season up to this point. I think that Scott Linehan did not do him any favors when they got down, and they totally abandoned the run game. They tried putting it all on Dak, which is, the last couple of years, it's been what the Cowboys do, is say, quarterback, lead us to the promised land, now go. So I was pretty, I'm not going to lie, I was pretty miffed when we got away from the running game, and I thought, well, on the flip side, I thought that Dak ended up handling it in the end very well. And I think that it was, I can see where you're coming from, and I agree to the fact that I think Dak, the team, this coaching staff, and us as the fans needed to see something like this. Needed to see Dak struggle, get down, and then see, all right, what are you made of?
Yeah, you're right, and that's why I say I think it was his best game. It wasn't his best game statistically, but I think for what he needed to do, and for like you said, for the fans too, because it's been this Dak Romo Dak Romo. I mean, it's just been. I mean, it's insane.
Not just the fans. I mean, it's every talking head out there.
Everybody.
Yeah.
But I think what's happened now is watching that. I'm of the mindset now that we need to stay with Dak. I mean, unless there's a complete meltdown, and I mean several games in a row.
Yeah.
Unless there is an injury, God forbid, and, you know, something of that magnitude, I think we stay with Dak. I love Romo. I think he's been a great quarterback for our team.
And he has.
And still can be.
Yep.
I mean, it's not. He's not done anything. It's like Ron Leary. Ron Leary lost his job last year because of an injury. He didn't lose it because someone outplayed him.
Right.
Romo lost this starting position right now, as we speak, because of an injury.
He broke his back.
And all that being said, it just seems things have been pointing in our direction pretty good. You know, statistically, we always take a look at what we've done and all, and we can hash the numbers real quick here, just so you know where we stand. But you know, Zeke had almost 100 yards, had 96 yards rushing, had a 56-yarder called back on a penalty, which really was a very questionable penalty. I don't believe it was, but whatever. Dez had 4 catches for 113 yards. That would have been a really good game, too.
No kidding.
And he had a long of 53. That was that bomb that Dak threw and did a good job with. But here's the other thing. Beasley had 4 catches for 53 yards. Zeke had 4 catches for 52 yards. But here's another guy. Terrence Williams had 2 catches for 25 yards. But 2 huge plays.
That's right.
The one catch for 15 yards to extend the drive on 3rd down, where he went up when he got that was huge. But the other play that he made was the offensive pass interference call. He stumbled on that route. Dak throws the ball. Defensive back has position, and he is going to intercept that. That might possibly been one of the top 3 plays of the game.
Absolutely.
Because if he doesn't do that and he intercepts that ball, we do not kick the field goal, and we're not in a position to even go into overtime.
That's right.
So defensively, Carr shined pretty well. 7 tackles. Byron Jones had 6. Lee had 6. Tyron Crawford got a sack and a half. McClain got a sack, a half sack. Skandrick got a sack.
Oh man! If he'd have just chopped that arm and knocked that ball loose, we wouldn't even had overtime.
I mean, so it's good to see that stuff happening. And net yards rushing, Philadelphia was very strong against the run. We had 187 yards rushing total. We'd have had 56 more. Of course, for 30 of that was our punter.
Yeah,
so
it's true.
Penalties, we just got hammered. 11 penalties for 84 yards. Those are 11 accepted penalties.
Yeah.
I believe there was a couple that were declined. So I think, in my opinion, the officials were a little flag happy, but it is what it is.
Man.
Time possession was almost dead even within a couple seconds. Yep. And just to put a cap on the numbers, Zeke right now has 799 yards rushing. He still leads the NFL. Murray has 756, but he's played one game more than
and he's
Zeke
hurt
is.
now too, isn't he?
Yeah, I think he might be.
Yep.
So, taking all those things into consideration, the numbers and what we saw and all that kind of stuff, first of all, Levi's prediction on the score was almost perfect. Yeah, he didn't call the overtime, but how do you call overtime? Well, this year you might be able to, because we've got overtime every time
every week.
Right?
Yeah.
But man, oh man, this team is just smoking.
It is. And, I've got 3 big takeaways from this past game. My first point that I had was that Boger's crew, they are awful. I mean, there were flags on it seemed like every play they were throwing flags.
Yeah.
Just ticky-tack stuff. We had a lot of bad calls, and I even saw them give the Eagles bad calls. So I'm not just going to pick on them just because they were flag happy with Dallas. They were almost as flag happy with Philly, too. For as many penalties as they did call, they probably missed that many more calls. And like I said, and I hate blaming the refs. And because it always sounds like you're trying to skate or shirk responsibility for lack of execution or whatever. But the plain and simple fact is the holding call on Zeke's run, where they called holding on Frederick, that was ticky-tack. They missed a pass interference where Dez was being held up in the end zone. All in all, Boger's crew, I really hope the NFL steps back, takes a look at that game, and starts asking Boger why his crew throws the most penalties week in and week out.
You need to form another crew with some really good officials, and then take that crew, including Boger, and put him on other crews where they can understand the game better, understand when and where to call these penalties and how to call them, because it's obvious, they're in over their head.
Yeah. My second key was clearly Dak struggled, in the first 3 quarters of the game.
Yeah.
But just like you alluded to, he absolutely took over when he had to. That was an 11-play, 90-yard drive that took 3 minutes and 22 seconds. That was the offense that we've watched up to this point. They marched right down the field, 90 yards in 3 minutes and 11 plays, and put 6 on the board. We get the ball to start overtime, 12 plays, 75 yards, took 7 minutes, 12 seconds for Witten wide open in the end zone. You can't ask for much more, especially from a rookie quarterback playing a hated division rival, and take the last 2 drives of that game, march the ball down the field, and put it in the end zone twice. Man, it looked like Philly was throwing wrinkles in coverage that he had never seen before, because he was way more indecisive. Of course, it also didn't help that he was running for his life because Free got beat on a play-by-play basis. That was the reason that I picked Free as my player to watch last week, because we just know that with those speed rushers off the edge, he's going to have difficulties. My third point was that this defensive unit came up huge in this game.
Yeah.
Absolutely huge. They were left in poor field position several times. The offense was... And you got to give props to the Philly defense. I almost threw up just saying that. But you got to give them props because, like I said, they were throwing wrinkles out there in coverage that Dak had never seen before. The defensive line, really ate up our offensive line for at least the first half until Zeke started really getting going. Without Zeke setting the tempo, you got to think we're still down 10 in the fourth quarter. Philly has all the momentum.
Yeah.
And the only thing that you can think was, we got to have a stop. Somebody on defense has to make a play. And then Lee goes out and gets a big tackle for loss.
On Sproles.
The offense isn't able to do anything again. The defense has to make another stop. And this time it's Carr coming up with a big stop. Or it's Scandrick getting in there and sacking the quarterback. And then it was Crawford. These guys, our biggest players on defense, made the biggest plays when it absolutely had to happen. And it was so much fun to watch these guys.
You're right. You're right. The defense has played very, very well. I think on the flip side of the break, we're going to talk a little bit about the defense and what we're facing from now for the next 4 to 5 weeks. But all right. That kind of wraps up our take on the Eagles game, our review of the Eagle game. We'll see them again down the road at the end of the year. the Cowboys at this point have done a great job. So, but we'll talk about it, and we'll talk to them. Check out our sponsors, and we'll be back in a second.
Well, up in the north, the way out west, even in the east, they know that we're the best in the land of the star. We're living the dream. Texas proud, we're America's team. We're the Cowboys. Stomp!
The them Dallas Cowboys.
Stomp! Come on, everybody, out of your seat. Stand up now and stomp your feet. Let's raise the roof, make a little noise. Here come the Dallas Cowboys.
Well, we are back with the Blue Star Roundup. I'm Rob. This is Levi, and we just got done talking about the Eagle game, so that just means we've got to look forward to the Cleveland Browns. So, Cleveland is on a streak.
Yeah.
They haven't won a game.
Of sorts, yeah.
This is a trap game. And now, we should go in there. We should go up and down the field. We should make it look like we're playing the Little Sisters of Hope. They're adults. They're paid professionals. They tell us. So we shouldn't. But you know they'll put up a good fight. And the thing is that everybody gets up for the Cowboys.
Yep.
Everybody. They will bring their best effort to the table. Whether it's good enough or not remains to be seen. They've got players there, and they came within an eyelash of beating the Jets. Just go ahead and laugh if you want to. It is what it is. I mean, this is the NFL, and there really shouldn't be any easy games in the NFL anyway.
There should.
But we know what just happened against Philadelphia. It was a physical game. It was
really
a very physical game. We have lost Mo Claiborne for at least 4 to 6 week time frame with a sports hernia, and it could be longer. I think it's going to require surgery,
Which is devastating because, in all honesty, Mo Claiborne should be in the conversation for defensive MVP.
Up till now, yeah, I absolutely agree.
He's been phenomenal.
He was one of our Blue Star award winners.
Yep.
We thought he was definitely our best cover guy.
Absolutely.
So that's a big blow. Barry Church broke his arm, his forearm. It's the same arm that he broke before. It's just in a different place. It's down here instead of up here. Now that's about a 4 to 6 week injury. Anthony Brown's going to play a lot more now. You'll see him. I think you'll see him play outside more. We've got beyond Cleveland. We've got a tough game after that with Pittsburgh. Anyway, what's your thoughts on the Cleveland game?
We go on and on and on about how grown up Dak is as a rookie, and we go on and on and on about how well he handles the pressure, how well he handles the media, how well he handles the constant Romo-Dak conversation. I think this offense gets their feet back underneath of them, and to be honest, I think we win a blowout. I don't even think it's going to be close.
In that, now, if we go up there and we win that thing, 38-10, I'm excited, I'm happy, and I want one of those games. They have some decent players. I mean, like I said, this Collins guy that just come over from New England, Hayden's good in the defensive secondary, but he can't cover everybody.
That's right.
I will defend Linehan a little bit. I know they're saying, well, he went away from the run. I think we go into Cleveland regardless of what they do, and we play our game. We win big.
Yeah, I've got again 3 keys to winning this upcoming game, and you segued right into it. I think we've got to get back to running the football. I think that one of this offense's greatest strengths is letting the offensive line get out there and start mauling guys and let Zeke set the tempo. Because if Zeke is out there busting off, a 4-yard run and then a 10-yard run and a 3-yard run and then a 15-yard run, let the offensive line get out there, start getting hands on some of those D linemen and wearing them down. And Dak seems to respond very well to Zeke's success. So I think that I think we need to get back to the running game, let Zeke set the tempo, and then let Dak start tearing them up over the top. Secondly, I need to see this offensive line get their feet back under them.
Yeah.
Because that Philly defensive line gave our O-line as much as they could handle. I mean, Fletcher Cox, that was a handful for Martin a lot of the game. Free obviously had his struggles there on the right side as well. Connor Barwin was giving Leary all sorts of headaches on the other side. They really gave this offensive line a run for their money for a lot of the game.
There was a play there in the second half where we needed a yard or two for a first down or something, and we ran it, and you saw Leary blocking the guy. The guy goes down on the ground. Leary is on top of him, and he's still moving his feet. He's laying on the ground. He's blocking him while he's on the ground, and he's on his knees blocking him. And I thought, my gosh, that was fantastic. I don't know. It was just great.
I tell you, block of the game was the end on Tyron's side. Tried coming around way out wide, and Tyron shoved him down.
Yeah,
and the guy pancaked him with just his hands. Yeah. Tyron Smith pancakes this guy. He's laying on the ground, and Tyron just kind of looking down at him.
Yeah, it's like, Tyron was not impressed with him. So, yeah, it was great. And your third point.
My third one is whether it was the crew last week or whatever, there's still no excuse for how sloppy we were in the first half. There's no excuse for it. And, this week, with it being a trap game, with it, that Cleveland's going to give you all that they've got, just like everybody the Cowboys plays, just like all of our opponents do. Got to tighten up the ship. And I think that this week is a perfect opportunity for us to be able to go in, be dominant, tighten up the things that we want to tighten up, and then walk out of there with a big win. I'm picking the Cowboys 35-17.
Well, I'm in the same ballpark. I'm going a little bit higher. I think it's 38-10. I just really believe that this team has character. This team has a real backbone. I don't think all those things I talked about with regards to a trap game and all these, as a team, I think we go in there and we just lay the hammer down. So I think it's time to take a look at our players to watch this week. I think I alluded to it earlier, but I think Cole Beasley could be huge for us. I think it's the kind of game that he would thrive in. They, like I said, they've got one really good corner. He's going to be on Dez, and I think we can exploit the rest of them with Beasley. So I would think that maybe Beasley's somewhere in the 7-8 catch neighborhood again. Something like that. Maybe a touchdown finally. This week he's had one, but. So I think Beasley's my guy.
Yeah, it's a terrific pick. I mean, because Dez is going to start drawing so much attention now that he's out there healthy and making defenses pay. So it's a really good pick. For me, my player to watch is going to be Dak. I want to see Dak come out, and I mean, like I said, there is no more reason to question the head on this kid's shoulders. There's no reason to question his resiliency, and I want to see him come back out and beat Dak.
Yeah.
It's just as easy as that. I want to see him come out, making the right reads, not forcing any more throws. I think that as long as he gets out there, can get his feet underneath of him, make good reads, he got to pick this Cleveland defense apart.
I agree. Yeah, good one. I like what you're saying about let Zeke be Zeke, really, and just let him go. Teams are going to now, if they haven't already, and they really have, started with the Green Bay game, but certainly you saw it with the Philly game. Teams are going to start saying Zeke is not going to beat us. We're going to make that rookie quarterback beat us. And with the struggles that Dak had in that first half, I think that's going to give teams more of an incentive to keep doing that.
Yep.
Until Dak did beat him. I mean, he did beat him. So they'll look at that too. But I do believe they don't want Zeke to break out for 50 and 60-yard runs.
Yep.
And they're gonna try to stop all that stuff. So, but I'm thinking 38-10.
Yep.
We had a fantastic watch party this past week. We had a lot of folks out there. here, if you're in Middle Tennessee and you want to see the Cowboys, they're maybe not on TV, or maybe even if they are on TV where you're at, and you just want to hang out with a whole bunch of Dallas Cowboy fans, like-minded fans, come out to Sam's Sports Grill out in Old Hickory, Tennessee, and we're going to be there. We have a great time.
Awesome.
There's giveaways, for premium members. If you're not a premium member, ask us about it. You'll have a fantastic time. The food is awesome. It's off the chain. Beautiful setting out there on the Cumberland. It's beautiful.
It is.
And the service is great. The folks out there have been great to us. So we want you to come out and have a good time. We do if you're watching this video, somewhere along in this video we mentioned something that you're going to need to know. And hopefully you watch this, because at halftime we give away a gift certificate, a gift card from one of our sponsors, the Ultimate Sports Fan in Mount Juliet, Tennessee. And that place, you can go out there and you can see all kinds of great shirts and hats and pennants and banners, and it's a sports store for the ultimate fan. If you think you're the ultimate fan, or you want to be, that's the place you want to go. So check out the Ultimate Sports Fan. Their website's going to be listed here as well. Also, if you're thinking about going to a Cowboys game, hit up GameDaySportsTours.com. They are fantastic. You'll get to go out there and see and meet some of the current players, legend players. You'll have a great time. Go to the game. So check them out. So hopefully y'all can make it out to the watch party this week. We'll have a great time. It's a 12 o'clock noon kickoff. We'll be out there. The party's going to get started at about 11:30. But come out early. Just enjoy the atmosphere.
That's right.
And all right. Until next week, this is Rob Vale and Levi Batchelor with the Middle Tennessee Dallas Cowboys Fan Club. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.
Thanks.
Love them Dallas Cowboys.
Put 'em up, put 'em up.